All right, red light's on, so we'll make sure that everybody can see and hear us here. As long as that is going, we will start. So I show 0. There we go. Okay, I see numbers. What is happening, Fish and Friends? Welcome to another Saturday Night Live. We have a super special guest tonight, one that I know has been in the works for a long time. I didn't want to hit you up because I'm like, dude, he's not going to want to come on some dork sitting in his basement talking fishing, some guy's YouTube channel. But I'm like, screw it. I reached out the other night and without any sort of hesitation, John was like, yeah, absolutely. When are we doing it? So John Cruz, everybody. For anybody that doesn't know John, I'll let him talk here in just a minute. But Elite Series angler, owns Missile Baits. You know, we've talked about him before. Yeah, I'll kind of let you do your introduction, John. Take it away.
Cool, man. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you, being supportive of me and of Missile Baits from early on. You've been kind of behind us, and I just appreciate that. But that's just it's cool that you get different people within the industry that kind of get behind your brand and get behind your purpose, so to speak. Being American-made baits and trying to keep everything made domestically, and try to do everything organically to where we're not doing any knockoffs or anything like that. Trying to make everything new. Sometimes you run into some roadblocks, but sometimes you hit some home runs like we did with the D-Bomb, and then sometimes you do some cool partnerships like we did with Hog Farmer with the Spunk Shad, and then run into Robo Worm and asked them to make us the magic worm, and they made the magic worm for us, and that thing has been it's been a bad news on some bass for me in the last couple of years, but yeah, man, thanks for having me on and see what all these people are talking about. People sneaking into the classic for sure, dude. Dude, I'll be honest with you, I haven't talked to anybody about it other than my wife and my family. But man, when that thing hit, man, I went crazy and cut the video off, and my daughter ran downstairs and we had a big hug, and she was all pumped up, and
dude,
texted my older daughter, she's off at college, and then my an hour later my stepson came in and we get a big hug, and just really cool from a family perspective to be able to see all that and kind of embrace everybody. But I made 13 Bassmaster Classics up until this point, and then when I jumped into this one, it became number 14, and I hadn't made one since 2020, and I didn't seem like that long. But then once you started counting backwards, it's like, oh my god, this is
a couple years longer than I thought.
Yeah, the competition just gets better and better. You got to stay on top of your game, and obviously squeaking in is not top of your game. It's squeaking in game. So just happy to be in it, and looking forward to fishing in Knoxville and seeing all the fans. That place really turns out the fans. I think it'll be a lot of fun to come to, and I hope everybody gets to come to the I call it the Mecca of bass fishing, because that's really what it is. Anybody that loves tournament bass fishing and bass fishing in general, like, that's the place to be, man. It's rare that you go to a town, and no matter where you go, whether it's the gas station at 2 a.m, or you're going to Waffle House, or it's 7 a.m, or you're going to dinner at the nicest restaurant, all you're going to look around is seeing people with Yamaha hats on, and people with Bass Cat hats on, and Berkeley hats on. You just look around and you're like, oh my God, these are all fishing people. You go in the bathroom and you hear somebody talking about flipping a jig in the stall next to you. You're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? The guy said, oh yeah, man, I only flip a half-ounce jig. I don't flip anything lighter. Like, that's what you hear in the bathroom at the Classic, no matter where you go. It's the coolest thing about the Classic.
Yeah, it's one of the crazy sports. That's why I put fishing in such a weird category, because where else could you go and literally, like you're talking about, share the bathroom with? Like, you're not going to do that with a bunch of NBA guys. I'm not going to jump in and be like, oh yeah, Kevin Durant was next to me in the bathroom, and then we went and hung out and talked on the showroom floor. Like, no, like, you can go meet the pros. You can buy the same lures and stuff that they're fishing. It's a really neat, dynamic, the sport of
It
bass
is.
fishing. It's, it can be a regular guy that just, lives next door to you, and oh yeah, he happens to fish professionally. It's not.
I have literally heard it at the Classic. Guys come out and go, man, I was taking a whiz. I looked over, and next to me it was Denny Brower, bro. Denny freaking Brower taking a whiz next to me. I mean, that's what happens at the Classic. It's awesome.
Yeah, I want to try to get down to the Classic this year. That's one of my destinations. Go down there, do a couple videos. Yeah, it should be a good time. But so for people that don't know, you also own Missile Baits. So what was that's a story that I forget the gentleman's name. I should have looked it up. But you did a few interviews with a gentleman, white beard. He was in your office, like at your headquarters, but did some really cool, Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've talked with a number of people. I know you're talking about. He's a good friend. He came by. Ty came by the he's like a couple weeks ago. He came by just to hang out and chat. But we the Missile Baits story. We've had Missile Baits for 13, going on 14 years now, and
wow,
it's really kind of hard to believe that we've been rocking and rolling for that long. And I've been doing this in the industry for right at 25 years now. And I was in the industry, meeting a lot of people, working with some different people. I started working with Spro Corporation, designing crankbaits. And I really love the design promotion process. I didn't understand the sales side. I didn't understand the manufacturing side. But I love the design, and I love the promotion side of it. So I said, you know what, maybe I'll do this with soft plastics, and started doing more research because I knew a lot of people in the industry. I said, hey, if you're going to do manufacturing, you need to do it with these people. If you're going to doing, sales, you need to do it with these people, kind of thing. And in case you thought you knew something about something, all you need to do is start a business in that. And then you realize you really don't know what you're doing, and you have to learn everything. So that's kind of how it was with Missile. I mean, for the first 3 years, it was drinking through a fire hose, just learning all the margins that we needed to have, and learning how to deal with dealers and all that kind of stuff. But, through it all, it's cool because you have some people that jump in and believe in you from day one. And we had 5 dealers before we even made it public that I was going to start a bait company. I called them just from personal relationships. I called them and I said, hey, I'm going to start this company making soft plastics. I'm going to have 5 different shapes, blah, 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 blah. And they said, whatever you're selling, we're going to carry it, and we'll do it in a big way. We'll do it. We'll carry everything you got. And I was like, man, that's awesome. One of those was Tackle Warehouse. One of those was Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. Another one was Mark's Outdoors, legendary, Southern tackle shop down in Birmingham, Alabama. Another one was Green Top in Richmond, Virginia. Another one of those legendary tackle shops. And then the other one was Dave's Tournament Tackle in North Carolina. Those 5 shops, they went in from day one and were, supportive of what I was doing with the bait company. And we still sell to all 5 of those shops to this day.
Wow.
And it's just a cool, just those relationships that you make along the way are just really cool, and a lot of fun. Talk with those people all the time. I didn't talk with any of them tonight, but I talk with them almost pretty much every month.
Yeah, networking is such a big thing. Like, people don't realize how small the fishing industry is. Like I work in the insurance industry, and how huge that is. Or if you look at like cooking, or any of these, you look at speaking to somebody on like YouTube, for example, these people that do fashion or food, everybody does that stuff, right? Or everybody does that. Everybody has to wear clothes, everybody eats, but not everybody fishes, and then you get down into bass fishing, and it's even a smaller, more niche market. So it's like, people don't understand how much networking and people talk within the fishing industry to each other. It's not like, oh, we're Missile Baits, we hate everybody else, we only talk to Missile Baits people. It's talking to all the different companies and working with them. And
it's a cool industry for sure. I mean, there's only a few assholes, honestly, that most of the people are really, really cool. I mean, like I'm really good friends with all of our competitors, you know, all of our other soft plastics competitors. I mean, they're pretty much all, I mean, Zoom, these guys are good friends. I mean, Ed and Chris, and they're good dudes. I mean, like they're the monster on the block. We're all trying to take them down, but they're good dudes. I mean, they make great shapes. They do good things, you know. It's a cool industry to be in for sure.
And that's just the thing, is that I'm glad you brought that up, because that's in the industry. What is it? You know, a rising tide can
float all ships.
Float all ships. Especially in like, well, and I guess you could talk to it too from the tournament professional side. You know, from YouTube, when companies will hit you up for like a sponsorship, or you know, when they want to work with you, exclusivity. You know, being exclusive with this company, it's like it just doesn't. You know, for me, you know, I know a lot of the companies, it just doesn't work because it's not. You know, it's not. I don't want to say it's not transparent, but it's not like people want to use what they want, right? And
it's
especially when you. Yeah, especially when you can pick up, like I can pick up a missile baits and say, I really like this thing about missile baits. I don't really like this thing about missile baits. I like Zoom better, or I like Strike King better.
Real, 100%.
Yeah, it just adds to the validity of those things that you do like. So it's cool, you know, hearing you say that, even as somebody working in the industry, you know, realizing that too. And it's not just, we all hate each other and we just do our own marketing of our own thing and we only sell our baits. Like, hey, if somebody else has got something that's better, use that, you know, or I'm going to talk about it, or, you know. So yeah, it's a weird, I guess, a weird deal. But for missile baits, I've got a few questions written down here. We're gonna pepper John with questions throughout the night. I'm gonna open it up when you guys and gals have a question. Just throw a big question in front of it. I'm gonna try to start saving these. I know there was a question about. We've got a ton of good friends in here. Kara, hope you're doing better. Longtime subscriber and member. I know she had some stuff going on, but Scott, all the members, all you crazy fools who pay extra every month to help support me in my basement, do this crazy adventure. Y'all are damn crazy, but I appreciate the heck out of it. And you know, everybody else, you don't have to be a member and pay and into that. Just watching and leaving a thumbs up. It's free. And that supports me way more than you would ever know. So appreciate the heck out of y'all. Scott, yes, I know you are a Missile Baits fan. We've got quite a few of those in here. Jermaine, you know Jermaine, Mainstream Fishing, big long time Missile Baits fan. He's a good cat. I haven't seen him in here yet, but I figured he'd be super surprised tonight. So we'll get to your questions here in just a bit. I'll start tagging those. But John, first question for you. Currently, right now, what is the #1 selling bait at Missile Baits?
So the #1 selling bait for us is the spunk shad, and that's
really,
that's through through an agreement we made with Hog Farmer to be able to utilize their molds and to be able to sell those baits and in the colors that we have. You know, frosted purple, especially Goby Bite. That's frosted purple right there. Goby Bite's a killer color. I think that's rivaling frosted purple now for #1 sellings. And I can tell you, Scott does not mind the mailbox money that he's getting every quarter from us from our agreement. He does not mind that one bit at all. And I think he doesn't really have a promotional budget to be other than some of the stuff that's going on maybe with like Tactical Bassin. I don't know, they have some kind of something going on. They're friends anyway, but so they don't do a lot of promotion other than that. And we help I think gain a lot of notoriety for them. But the minnow market is kind of getting flooded, and it's starting to kind of like rescind a little bit.
Minnow market. Are there people making minnows? Is that a big thing right now?
Apparently, as I'm told. But the missile's coming out with two more minnows, a minnow in 2 different sizes, I should say. But it's a little bit different. I can tell you, there's not anything like it on the market with the those Freedom Flyers that are coming out. But Bee Height Delight, Spunk Shad, that is cash money, because there's nothing like it. That color did not exist. And I can tell you, when we came out with that one, Hog Farmer called us and was like, "Oh, damn, I wish we'd have done that one." Like, sorry guys, you didn't think to do it. Sorry.
Real quick, I will say thank you, Dakota. Dakota and I are actually going to meet up tomorrow. He is a fellow Iowa fishing friend. We've been talking about it. He couldn't make the
Nice.
meetup, so we're going to go hit the kayak fishing game tomorrow. So, my brother, thank you very much for the gifted members. I can't see on here who got them, but you should get a beepy notification deal thing if you got
Where
one.
y'all,
So,
where y'all hitting up
thank you.
tomorrow?
We're going to go to a lake here in Iowa. It's called Lake McBride. So, Iowa. Have you fished in Iowa? Like, have you fished many
I
places
fished
here?
an elite series in Iowa on the Mississippi,
Oh, Mississippi. Yep, northern
but
Mississippi.
not any of the lakes in Iowa. No.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're missing out, dude. Probably when I checked, probably top three in the country for biggest bass, most insane fisheries you could ever go to.
Oh my God, are you serious?
No, no, that's sarcasm.
Oh,
Iowa's
okay. I
pretty.
was like, wait, what? What did I miss?
Usually people can't even find Iowa on the map. I tell them I'm from Iowa, and they're like, "What's that?
It's shaped
Is that
like
a
a
state?"
hoagie sandwich, is what it's shaped like.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
getting
right in
ready
the
to eat it.
middle, right in the
Yeah.
middle of the U.S.
Yeah.
No, but it's kind of cool. Iowa's kind of neat because we don't have like, yeah, nobody's coming here to fish some lake for, some big, huge bass tournament, but we kind of have a little bit of everything. So I feel kind of lucky, it's not just like I don't have just like a few rivers, or I don't have to drive like 3 hours to find a lake like some of these West
Yeah.
Coast guys. And so yeah, it's a lot of dinks, but I don't care. I'm not a tournament guy. I don't tip my hat to just big fish. I just love to fish. I'm a nerd.
Yep.
In his basement, I just love to go out and catch fish and have fun. I think sometimes people forget that that's really the name of the game, is just catch fish and have fun. So
Absolutely.
now as far as missile baits, the D-bomb is kind of my one of my old go-tos. More recently, the mini D chunk has probably been my favorite, most used missile bait.
Yep.
What is your personal favorite color out of all of them? Superbug is mine. If I could only pick one, I think it does everything really well. But do you have a color that you're like, I love this one? Or is there an old like color maybe that's not continued that you were like, man, that was the secret sauce?
There's a couple colors as far as D-bomb type
And I should
deals
be.
go. Is that on the D-bomb, I've caught probably more on Superbug than any other color.
Yes.
Bruiser Flash, probably a close second or third.
Agreed.
And then, Copper Chopper is way up there, and then the one that's probably not on the map is the Bucks Shot, which is from Bucks Island Marine, and it is a bluegill type color, and it is freaking awesome. It's not on our the Bucks Shot is not on our website. It's on Bucks Island. It's called The Loft is the name of their tackle shop. It's a good little color. It's not too far off of that Copper Chopper type color, but yeah, there she is. There's old
reliable.
Old reliable for sure. Superbug. So it's kind of funny the way that this was one of our very first colors. When we started missile baits, Superbug was one of our very first colors. And my theory was that black and blue is a great color, works all the places. Green pumpkin, also good color, works most places. I really liked green pumpkin blue. So then I went ahead and made the bottom of it green pumpkin blue and the top of it black and blue. And I said, so by definition, black and blue and green pumpkin and blue should technically work everywhere when it's together. So there it is. Superbug.
Love it. Now, this is one I didn't even know this was a color, and I feel really stupid, but I bought like 17 bags of them. Somebody posted this the other day. Didn't know that Bayou Flash was a color.
Yeah.
Bought like 17 of these because I'm a huge black and purple fan. In fact, I don't know if you remember
Underrated.
if you worked on any of that, but Monster Bass, back when we were doing stuff working with them, they did a limited run of the DEBO'S Flash It was supposed to be like
Yes.
a tequila sunrise, but it was basically a black with blue flake, purple flake. So it kind of reminds me of that. This is basically just a different
Yeah,
version of it.
I had
But
a bag of those because you did them in the baby D-bombs,
yep,
and
yep.
I had a bag of them in my boat, and I went through them, and then I looked around, and we didn't have any more, and there was no more to be found, so I had to conveniently start to like something else.
Yeah, and that's this. Yeah, for anybody that like that old color that I got a chance to do, this Bayou Flash is
That came out really good.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Is there like an old color that you don't, I guess, do anymore? Did you ever have like a secret color that worked that just didn't sell? Because I feel like that's, you
Well,
can
I
come
think
up with these.
there was a whole bait that is like the baddest ass flipping bait ever, and it did not sell, and it was the missile craw.
Oh
That,
yeah,
that
dude, the
missile
little
craw is
actually,
nasty. Nasty.
I was gonna ask if you had any more of these for sale. This little tiny one, the drop shot one, as a
Oh,
finesse
the
jig
drop craw.
trailer.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
little
the
drop
little
craw.
tiny drop crop. Oh my gosh, dude!
Yeah, we have a few of those left.
I
We
want to
can
buy
send
them.
you some if you want
Yeah,
some.
I'll PayPal you.
I need to make a note.
But yeah, that was a cool one because it was the bigger version of this, right? And you guys stopped making it.
Well, is there's two different ones.
Oh, maybe I'm not
I'm
thinking of the
making
right one.
myself a note to send you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll PayPal you after. But I definitely want to buy some of those on a finesse jig. They look sick. But it's because it's the
Drop
long
craw.
skinny, so not this one.
No, that's a crawfather. Crawfather's a good little bait too. It's
Yeah,
a
because you're talking
nasty
about the one with the
bait.
big. It looked just like that, but bigger, right? As a flipping bait.
Yeah, the missile craws. It's probably not on the website anymore because I think we're out of them. I've got a few left in bulk. Believe it or not, Tackle Warehouse bought an entire run of a couple colors of the missile craw because there was a couple pro anglers that I'm not going to name that are affiliated with Tackle Warehouse that talked Tackle Warehouse into making those exclusive colors just so that they could have missile craws personally, because they didn't want to fork up the money, and Tackle Warehouse was like, all right, fine, we'll do it. So they did it. And yeah, dude, that missile craw is bad to the bone. That is a heck of a little flipping bait, especially at punching, when you're punching heavy stuff.
Oh yeah, they do still have them, and they have Superbug. Oh,
Yep.
and a color I've never seen, ESC. What is that?
Yeah,
that looks sweet. Oh, I'm not Sharon. You got to keep on me as my co-pilot here, John. I suck at running the screens and talking. So if I'm ever
that's fine
talking here, just say, "Hey,
for you,
share
my friend."
Here. There we go. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. This is a cool bait. Yeah, I was surprised this one didn't.
At ESC, I can't even remember what it stood for. It's like extra special color or something like that, or Eric's special color, or it's somebody's special color. I can't remember who it is.
Kind of like a Falcon Lake craw, rusty craw.
Yeah, they did that rusty craw. That's nasty.
Oh,
we're out of those. I'm gonna have to order some from the warehouse myself.
Cool. What is, so if we're not talking just missile, do you have one bait like that stands out through your career that you feel like has won, maybe not even won you the most money, but like one that you always tend to lean on, like a confidence bait?
I've caught a gazillion fish on a chatterbait. But we can stick missile baits. I've probably in the last 2 years, the spunk shad has caught more fish for me on a chatterbait than probably anything else. I love a chatterbait. I think it's a lot of fun. The only soft plastic, or the only bait really in general, that I've probably caught more fish on than the chatterbait is the magic worm. The magic worm, just on a drop shot, shaky head, Nico rig, whatever you want to call it, dude. That has been really good for me. Oh yeah, he's talking about the missile eye roll. With the Sakamata, you're not the first one, my friend. I know that Sakamata plus eye roll is a nasty combination. And we have the 1/0, 3/0, and 5/0 hooks. So we have different size hooks. So even if you want to fish the little 4/0, you can put it on the 1/0 hook, and it's cash money. It's good to go. Tackle
Our
chunk.
buddy, yeah, our
Oh, what's
buddy
up, dude?
Jim.
Hey, man, I ran into him in Arkansas a couple years ago.
Oh, nice.
Hadn't
Yeah,
seen him in
he's
a
a
minute.
good friend of the channel. Jim is a super good dude. Has helped me behind the scenes of YouTube a lot. So we always appreciate Jim hopping in. Need to
Hmm.
get him on a live soon. He's a good buddy. I'm just trying to go through here and look at different questions and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, right there. Oh, at the Hilton of Branson too, apparently.
that's where I saw you.
Uh,
Yep, he had his whole family with him. Yeah, super nice looking family. Very proud. He was very proud.
Let's see. So I have, okay, as far as questions, if you all have questions for John too, feel free to throw those in here. I'll try to keep it around an hour. John's an hour ahead of me, so we'll try to do just an hour here. We could talk with John for probably 5 hours and still only scratch the surface. But as far as the Elite Series, you're fishing, do you have like a time, or really any tournament? We can go any tournament series. Do you have a time that you were ever like, we kind of talked about it before, like question the bass fishing side of, the tournament deal, like, why am I doing this? I own a company of, have you ever thought of like quitting one or the other? Has it ever become too much, or does it just coincide so well? I don't know.
No,
To me it
dude,
seems like it would be super 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 freaking what's the word, like my anxiety would be crazy, I guess, doing all that. I would just be running circles, I
yeah.
feel
So,
like.
I mean, for me, like in life in general, I learned this in high school. The busier that I am, the more productive that I am. So I have to keep myself busy, but it's a fine line. Sometimes I get too busy and then I start doing everything half-ass, and I hate that. I hate that a lot.
Yeah,
And that is
just getting it done.
yeah, that's kind of my biggest, that's the biggest drawback from being somebody who's like, I'll do that. Yep, I'll do that too. Yep, I'll be on that board. I'll be on that board, and I'll take that position, and then I'll take that sponsor. So I've been very apprehensive in the last, probably 5 to 6 years or longer about taking on any new sponsorships, because I'm like, look, if you're not going to make it worth my while, I'm not going to be able to spend enough time to make it worth your while. And then, positions on either boards or businesses or things like that. I have to pick and choose. I'm very active with the ASA and and some of the stuff that I do with them. And then for the last 10 months, basically, I've been the president of the anglers board for the Elite Series guys. And I mean, like, last week we had one Elite Series guy get disqualified. I got notified early in the week that this was could happen. So all of a sudden, I probably ended up spending 5 to 6 hours on the phone last week alone, trying to make sure dude wasn't getting done wrong. And there was
Wow.
nothing I could do as a representative for all of the anglers to try to help him and help that situation. So, that takes a lot of time, but at the same time, I'm not just helping that dude. I'm trying to help everybody at the same time. And, so it's good, and I'm passionate about that kind of stuff, but I have to be careful to pick and choose of how much of that kind of stuff that I get myself involved in, because I know for a fact I've taken time away from missile baits because I've not been able to spend as much time, continuing to make sure everything's developed, to make sure things are going right, to make sure we're selling what we need to sell, all that kind of stuff. We've had a lot of things going on with missile baits in the last couple months. So we've got a new sales director starting on Monday. I mean, I can tell you guys that if you want to know, give a little skinny to your peeps. His name is Ryan Escatia. He just texted me a minute ago. So I don't know if he's watching the feed, but he is a lifelong diehard bass fisherman. He's been in the industry the last handful of years. Really good on the sales side. I'm very excited. I think he's a perfect fit for what we need and for the position that we need and for the person we need, and morally and everything else. I think he's exactly what we need.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I had now another question. So yes, and I've been the exact same way, and clearly not to the level of all the stuff you're doing. But yeah, same thing with sponsors on the YouTube site. I do this for fun, as a hobby. I still work, 50 hours a week. I've got a family. So trying to juggle all that. Yeah, I've got rid of sponsors when it's just exact same way. I don't want to half-ass it. I don't want to just be getting a video out to get a video out, or just to meet some sort of need. I want it to be good. I want to do above and beyond. If somebody says I have to do one video a month, I want to do 2 or maybe even 3. And it's when you can't do that, it's just it's not a good situation. You only got so much room on the plate to be able to do stuff. So
that's right. And I had a friend of mine tell me earlier in my career, when I was really trying to figure everything out, so to speak. And he told me something. He said, look, no matter what you do in life, whether it's fishing, selling boxes, selling cars, whatever, he said, man, you keep your life in priority and things right. He said, you keep God first, your wife second, your family third, and everything else fourth. He said, you'll be fine. And like that, I've never heard more prophetic advice in my life. And I try to live my life by that kind of theory.
Agreed. Because you can spiral out of control real quick on that.
Oh, Drew's got a good question here. He wants to dig in.
Hey man, he's stirring the pot, man. Forward facing sonar is all the talk. I don't get into it here. We've talked about it on my channel. John and I talked just a little bit beforehand. I don't die on either side of the hill. I think it's really cool. If I could afford it, and throw it on, hell yeah, I'd use it. You can cut down stuff. You can learn things from the fish, just from the few times that I've seen it. Super cool. But at the same side, and John can certainly talk to this better. I understand from a tournament deal, if you don't use it or you don't feel it's fair, I get that, especially when you're making your living tournament fishing. But yeah, I'll let John take it. What are your thoughts on the whole?
Yeah, I mean, about the new FF's rules. I think there's the short version. It's hard to condense everything down. But on the rules, I think it's fun. Look, I've been fishing for a long time. I've been fishing full time since 2000. So 25 years of fishing. Anything that can keep it new is fun for me. When the chatterbait first came out, that was awesome. That was fun for me. When 360 came out, I'm like, oh my gosh, this tool is so cool. I loved it. It made crankbait fishing so much better. It made it so much more fun to me. All of this, when you've been fishing for a long time, when things come along, you should embrace them and enjoy them and add them to what you already know. That's how I felt about forward-facing sonar. For example, this morning I went to the gym and I was talking to a good friend of mine. He was sitting there. He's in there every time I'm in there. And I was like, I just, was talking to him and he said, man, I'm bored. I was like, what are you bored for? He said, I just come in here every day and I do the same thing. And I'm like, you don't want to change. He's like, nah, dude, I've changed up my routine 1,000 times. I'm just bored. And it hit me. I was like, oh, that's how a lot of bass fishermen feel, is that they feel bored when they go out there and do the same thing. Like you throw the same Bandit 200 crankbait down the same rocky bank 100 million times in a row.
Hey, easy on the Bandits. That's been my lure of the year. So
it's cool that you catch fish on it, but at the same time, eventually it gets old and you want to, like, what's new? What can I catch a new fish on? So to me, I love hearing experienced bass anglers that embraced forward-facing sonar and were like, oh, this is so cool because now this is something fun. Like, dude, I didn't even know these fish were out here just moping around in the middle of the river. I had no idea they were out here. So they're out there catching these fish and they're like, look at these fish. Who knew that these things were out here? That's cool to me. I'm not as cool with the people that are like, those fish should never be fished for. It's like, dude, get off your high horse, man. Just chill for a minute and let people enjoy the new part of it. Like, I know that there's high school kids that don't know jack squat about fishing that are out there catching the fish you're not supposed to catch. But like, get over it, man. Just stop being a Karen and just like let people enjoy fishing the same thing that we all enjoy.
And yeah, all that griping and whining about don't use it. I think, is that my internet or is that you? Am I still live?
I don't know. Mine's usually pretty good, but
okay.
It was nobody. It was neither of us.
Skipped.
We're good.
Okay.
It didn't happen.
It skipped. We're good. I don't get the thing. Sometimes I get the thing that my Wi-Fi is on the fritz. I haven't told anybody, but I'm just stealing Wi-Fi from the neighbors.
I got that Randy hit in. I got that Randy hit. That's all it was. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, improvise, adapt, overcome. It, to me, is such a big thing, and not only life, but fishing, anything. Embrace the grind. I did MMA and kickboxing for 12 years, and our saying was always embrace the grind, embrace the suck. Yeah. Because it's like when you actually get in the ring, that's just a highlight reel. Or when you go to the tournament, and actually are on TV, that's the highlight reel. It's all the time and work that you put in. And everything can be a tool, right? Even if you don't love it, maybe you don't think it's fair. Can you learn from it? Can you pick up forward-facing sonar and learn from it? Doesn't mean you have to go out and ping a minnow and shake your minnow to win, but can you learn from it? Can you use it to maybe you only flip docks, skip docks or wood. Can you use it to learn from that? I think those are the people that really can benefit from it, that can throw it in and incorporate it with their current game. I don't know. It's, to me, it's always easier to gripe about something and say it's not fair and I'm not going to use it. It's a lot easier to do that than actually pick something up that's new that you're not good at and incorporate it into your current kit. Basketball's another, look how basketball's changed. There's no post play, it's a lot of 3-point shooting. You can either adapt to it or roll over and die. So I don't know.
Right.
Kind of my thoughts on it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's it's just unfortunate. I feel like that you got some people that want to go completely one way or the other.
Let's see
what tournament bass fishing is.
There we go. I think you froze again for a second. Your tongue was sticking out. You were froze with your tongue out.
I was just saying, I think the tournament bass fishing should not be defined by forward-facing sonar, but at the same time, it can't ignore it.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's just another tool.
If there's a tour that doesn't have it, I think that's awesome. Like that's their deal. But tournament fishing, like all of bass fishing going forward, I think should be a mix of with and without it. If you can't catch fish with it, then like you're not a modern day fisherman, tournament bass angling. But if you can't catch fish without it, you're not the best angler in the world. You're not the best bass angler in the world. So, I think I'll be curious to see what happens with this year. I don't expect like a huge shakeup in the standings. I don't expect that, but I expect it to be. Maybe a few guys up and down, but there's a few guys up and down every year, no matter if there's forward-facing sonar or not. Hell, I made the classic for the first time in a handful of years, and I had forward-facing sonar, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it seems like a good, like I said, I'm from the outside looking in, but it seems like a good compromise. Some of them with, some of them without. Like, see how it goes. I feel like then you've got your chance to show. If you're really that good and you're better than everybody else because you don't use forward-facing sonar, you've got your chance to prove it. I don't know.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is that the guys are with their top 2 in the AOI the last 2 years. They're gonna be in the top 2 or 3 or 4. The next couple years, period. Chris Johnston and Trey McKinney are the best 2 bass anglers, period, right now.
Yeah, and it's not that they can't do it. It's not that they can't fish good with it. How do I want to say that? They can still kick butt without it.
You blindfold both of them and put them in a mud puddle, and they will both catch a limit that weighs 11 to 12 pounds. I promise you.
What that actually is a good question because I had one saved here. So Bass AF, because I've always
Yeah.
stood on like the two things that make an elite or a tournament guy that's really good, better than the average Joe, is the ability to find fish consistently. Is like, to me, the number one thing. If you can go out and consistently find where the fish are at, I think there's
Hmm.
oftentimes multiple ways to catch them.
Hmm.
But I think one thing that spins the regular angler out is not only finding them but also the bait. How caught up does just a person going out and fishing for fun get caught up on the bait? So my buddy Bass AF, how quickly do you decide to switch up a bait? Is there a way the bass are eating it, or is it based on the location you're at? Like, when, I'm sure you get asked that a ton. When do you switch up baits?
Part of it has to do with what you think they're eating, and there's different ways to do that depending on where you're fishing. Um, I feel strongly that most bigger bass, I'm not talking dinks, I'm not talking 2-pounders, I'm talking most bigger bass, is which most anglers want to catch. Most big bass want to eat bluegill. So with it, wherever
Hmm.
the bulk of the bluegill are in most lakes and bodies of water, that's where. Now you got Great Lakes that are going to be a little bit different. You got some lakes, some other lakes that are going to be a little bit different. But I'm telling you, if you have a situation to where like the bulk of the bluegill are doing this or that or the other, that is where a large portion of your larger bass population is going to be at that particular time. I was just talking with Brian Schmidt, one of my roommates on tour. He just texted me a little while ago. He'd probably be mad if I was telling everybody this, but
Sorry,
we were
safe here.
talking. We were talking about some of these northern lakes and how largemouth can really play a factor, and then all of a sudden, the way that you caught those largemouth, it's different the next year or it's different the next month. Why is that? And I'm like, I told him, I said, dude, I'm telling you, up north, they got those brim and the rock, they call them rock bass. They're,
Hmm.
the little, they bite anything you throw in there.
Yes,
Those
like the
things,
green sunfish here too.
yeah,
Believe
yeah,
me.
yeah, exactly. Wherever the bulk of those are, that's
Oh, I
the
think you
largemouth are
froze
going to go
again for a
down.
second.
I waited.
Uh,
Yeah, there you
oh,
go.
there
Back
you're
again.
back. There you're back. Yep. So that's an
Great.
interesting take. I guess I wasn't expecting that. So would you even say the same for like a lake that's heavily shad populated? Do you think they'll still gravitate, the bigger bass will gravitate more toward eating bluegill than shad? Or is it different?
Yes, yes, unless the
Wow.
lake has gizzards, shad. Gizzard shad changes the game because I think gizzard shad, they might be dumber than other
Mm.
shad, and they're bigger and they're tastier and fattier. Uh, Big bass love gizzard shad. All bass love threadfin shad. But the bluegill, there will always be some bass following where the bluegill go. So if the bluegill are spawning, I promise you, there's going to be big bass around there. If it's summertime and they're not spawning, if you can find where the bluegill are, that's. And I always give this in seminars. I do a lot of seminars. I tell people on my chatterbait and shallow water seminars, if you put your boat in the water and you look down the bank and you can see 20 to 30 bluegill that are like this long, throw a chatterbait on the bank. I promise you they will eat it. Because if all those bluegill are up around the bank, there are bass up there looking for 4 and 5 inch bluegill to eat because that's where all the bluegill are. There's going to be bass along those banks looking for them. I said they might be in the shade, they might be in the backs of pockets. I don't know, but they're going to be on the bank somewhere looking for those bluegill because that's what they like to eat because they're typically dumb.
Because they're dumb. Yes,
Yeah,
I feel dumb sometimes
it
when
is.
I go out and can't catch them when there's 8,000 fish out there. But that's a whole different story. And do you have actually here? Hold on, because there was another good question here. And if you've seen anything and you want to jump in, certainly go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I lost it. Well, I don't know where that one went, but I can ask you this. This is kind of an interesting one. Wes was asking best BFS combo, but I'll just kind of broaden that. What are your thoughts on BFS? Do you think it's a gimmicky deal, or do you think it's just kind of another fun way to fish? You know, if you don't want to use the spinning, throw BFS. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a
You've come out
fun
with
way
some
to fish.
BFS stuff.
Honestly, I think it's a fun way to fish. I like some of the actions of the rods for throwing small crankbaits and some of the small treble hook baits.
Yes.
I don't. Some of the small treble hook baits, I don't. The spinning rods are just, I don't know. I feel like you don't get the same. You can't use the same action on a spinning as you
Not as
can on
comfortable
bait casting.
for
So
me.
for some anglers, if they're more comfortable with the bait caster, BFS is a cool, good way to go.
Now, do you see, I guess from the tournament side, do you ever see anybody throwing like BFS in the tournaments? Do they ever do that really, or no? Do you know, guys?
It's not like a predominant deal, but I see a few guys doing some stuff. Yeah. Some BFS, but it's not heavy. It's not heavy.
Right. Makes sense. Mr. Randall Williams Silly, I did have your question back from a little while ago, and this is kind of similar to longtime member for 43 months. I appreciate you, man. Question: what goes into the research and development of new baits and colors at Missile Baits? Probably not much, right? You just whip it up in a couple weeks and it's ready.
Man, it takes close to a year to get a product from like concept to the market. And I thought when I was dealing with Spro back in the day, years ago, I thought that was a long time, because sometimes it would take 18 months or so to get from a concept to the market of a bait. You draw it out, whatever, and then I was like, all right, so we started missile baits, and then I realized that 12 months is a pretty good time frame. It just takes time to build molds. It just takes time to make everything like you want it, and to test it. It takes a little time to test everything to make sure it's got the right specifications for what you want to use it for. And so yeah, that's kind of the time frame. As far as colors go, a lot of that is personal preference, things that you look around in the market and you see other people aren't doing. You think that things might need to be done. You look at other proven colors, maybe like, all right, maybe we need to snag some of these proven colors because I like that color. Just all kind of different factors that go into the color side.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's what I was going to say earlier, is that the colors, from the different companies I talk to, it always cracks me up that like, I'll have this one special color that I think, dude, I could sell the hell out of that. Like if I was a salesman,
Yeah.
They're like, nah, that doesn't sell. And I'm like, what? It's the coolest color. They're like black and blue, green pumpkin, white.
It is kind of crazy. Sometimes the colors just don't, like what you think might sell just doesn't do the thing, doesn't do the trick. It's wild.
How much of that do you think is just angler confidence? Like let's say you find the fish, like you're talking about the bluegill. Do you think it makes two hoops and a holler of a difference if you're throwing a green pumpkin versus a black versus a purple? In a lot of those situations, do you think it's more bait placement and like action profile versus color?
So in all the seminars that I do over the years, I rank what makes a bass bite a lure.
Oh, okay.
And what the scent is like, and the color is probably third, and scent is fourth.
So hold on this one. I'm going to break in here, John. I have to ask, what is your favorite scent ever?
My favorite scent?
Yeah.
I'm not a big scent guy because it's the fourth most important thing that makes a bass bite your bait.
Well, hold on. We're going to take a trip down memory lane here, John.
Bobby Stankiewicz wants to know what scent is in my stuff.
We're gonna take a trip down memory lane. Let's see. Let's see. Do we have the?
I'll tell you what I always say. Scent can be a multiplier. It absolutely can be a multiplier. Yes.
is pretty powerful stuff. This is Carolina.
I was looking back. I was like, how long have you been doing your YouTube channel? So John is telling us about some lunker sauce here that he was very into.
The original formula.
Yeah.
As you can
It
see,
cracked me up, and I was like, dude,
I mean, look at the
I've
bottle
got to
here.
throw that
Been
in.
battle
I
tested.
just happened upon it.
That's awesome.
But hold on,
That's in my garage, which is right out here. That's hilarious.
I couldn't throw John under the bus like that. So hold on here. Let's see. If we're doing stuff like that.
What's happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another episode of DEBO'S.
Oh Lord,
Fishing.
this was what, 7 years ago, 8 years ago?
Thank you. Remember, that is a big part of this series. A thank you.
Wow.
Are you breaking the internet?
That was some rough stuff. Sitting in my old couch in the corner of my basement. Things have changed a little bit, but I had to throw that one in there on you, John. Sorry. And just like that, he left. So I think you froze again, John. You still there? Did I freeze? Let me go to current comments. Am I still live? I'm not sure if I froze or... Okay, I think John froze. Holy gee, Debo. Okay, John froze. Well, oh no! Well, I had to pull a joke and play the old lunker sauce. And that was it. John said, "Screw you, I'm out." Well, that's what happens when you have an Elite Series Pro on and you try to have a funny. There we go. So yeah, he just sent me a text message and said, "I can't believe you did that." Hopefully he jumps back on here. Broke the internet. There he is. He's back.
What happened?
You froze.
You broke it.
I know. I was like, well, folks, that's what happens when you have your first Elite Series Pro on. You throw an old throwback video about lunker sauce, and he leaves. I said, John just texted me and said that I pissed you off and you were done for the night. So
oh no, dude, I want more of those. Show all of my old stuff. It's great. I love it.
You got to remember where you came from. Yeah, too much sauce. People are saying John's sauce broke the internet. And funny times. But yeah, you have to laugh about where you came from, the early stuff, because again, fishing is too serious sometimes. You got to have fun with it. If you're not having fun, what the hell is the point of doing it?
Absolutely. That is my whole philosophy for sure.
And there was another question that came up, the bait one, and nope, we already got that one from Mr. Randall. Well, I'll open it up. Fishing friends, what do you guys have? What other questions do you have here's one. William, another good subscriber, longtime follower, good fishing friend. Is the missile baits place open to the public? Can people go in and buy stuff or hang out or?
Absolutely. Yeah. We get probably like this time of year, we'll probably get a couple a week, 3 or 4 a week that comes in. But in the springtime, it'll be 1 or 2 a day, when people are, actively fishing more, March, April, May, June, those time periods. So yeah, we got a little retail spot there and got a lot of people that come by.
Yeah, William, I've told you that. Why have you not stopped by yet? Yeah, he's like 2-3 miles away from you guys. Go stop in, say hi.
Yeah, right next to Walmart. Come on, man.
Is it really right next to Walmart?
Yeah.
That's awesome. There's Walmarts everywhere. Here in the Midwest, it's Dollar Generals now. Every town along the way has a Dollar General. They're just taking over. My buddy Chris, actually, I don't know, Chris, if you're still on, got to shout out Chris. Congratulations. He was in a kayak tournament today and won.
Yeah, their ass, huh? Yes.
Congrats.
Yeah.
But he said a couple questions for John. John, what is your favorite lake ever that you fished? Do you have a favorite?
Man, so like we'll go. We got to do a snapshot at this. It's not, lakes change over time.
Yeah, true.
And I can just tell you that the first time that I ever went to Lake Amistad down in Del Rio, Texas, was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. So I go out there. This was the first time we ever went there back in like early 2000s. I think it was the first Elite Series event, period, the one that Ish won. So we get out there, you know, it's like semi-dark. I'm driving out, you know, on the lake, and I go into this pocket, and I'm like, damn, it's still kind of dark. I can't hardly see. And I had a Cinco on, Texas rigged, and I was like, well, let me see how clear the water is. So that's how dark it was. So I get up and I kind of pitch it out right next to the boat, and it's sinking down, and I'm watching it, and it goes about, I was like, damn, this is really clear water. I could see probably 3 feet or at least. And so I was looking, I looked around, and I looked back around, and I reeled it up, and there was one on there. A 3-pounder was already on there. Boom. First pitch, just to look at it. I didn't even throw it near the bank. I threw it next to my boat, and a 3-pounder bit it. It was the most ridiculous fishing I've ever seen in my life in that tournament. It was so crazy. And then the only second was probably the Lake Falcon, the first time we ever went there. I'm pretty sure all of those fish were genetically engineered to bite fishing lures, and you could not throw anywhere without catching a fish. It was so stupid.
I need a lake around here like that for me because that'd be fun. Be a lot of fun.
I can tell you they don't last like that. So if you find one like that, it won't last. You better just fish it every single day until it changes, because it will.
Yeah. Only what is it? Not all good things. All good things come to an end. Let's see. Chris also asked if you could only use 2 of your missile baits. Which 2 do you think take the cake? Which 2?
Only 2 missile baits, magic worm and a D-bomb, because then I can go finesse and flip. Dude, I'm good. Spunk shad is definitely a close third, but those 2, I can go anywhere, do anything. I'm good.
This is actually,
I catch all of my fish on a magic worm and a D-bomb. A lot of them.
That was a question that I had down. Kraken, another good longtime subscriber. Question: Your favorite technique rig lure of all time? Oh yeah, no, mine's the drop shot. No, as he was mentioning, Ish is one of my spirit anglers. If I could morph into somebody's body, frogging. I'd frog all day if I could. You know, once I get one blow up, it's like frog. I want to frog all day, every day. So yeah, he's kind of my spirit animal. Love Ish. But what about you? Like, we're not talking tournament stuff. Just like, what's your favorite way to go out and catch fish, have fun?
Just general topwater is probably my favorite. And this goes back to when I was a teenager. I love throwing a popper. Zell Rowland was one of my favorite anglers growing up. And I loved watching him. The chug bug. I love the chug bug as well. Those were, the popper and a chug bug were 2 of my favorite topwater baits early on. And then it didn't take long. Once you break into that, then you start throwing the Zero Spook. Zero Spook is just, I mean, that's probably I probably have more satisfaction out of a fish blowing up on a Zero Spook now than probably any other bait. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, you get that auditory. There's just something about the whole, like, there's a lot of bites that are fun. A jerk bait when you're, working it, and then all of a sudden it's just heavy. It's neat, but there's just something different about that, I don't know.
The fish taking a doo-doo all over your bait, just absolutely crushing it. Yeah, and Spro has they have a topwater bait, walking bait called a walking haint. They have a 125 size, which is a big one, and they have 100. The 100's good. The 125 is sick. It's absolutely sick. And it was funny because I've known Ed Lochran since I was 15. So, I mean, this is, so we're talking 30 plus years. Ed Lochran won the Elite Series last year on Lake Champlain. The first 2 days he caught, I think, like all but 1 or 2 of his fish on that big walking haint, because as long as I've ever known Ed, he's caught a zillion fish on a chrome super spook, that big chrome super spook. And I told Ed like a couple years ago when that walking haint came out, I said, dude, you need to fish that walking haint. It's better than the spook. And he was like, yeah, right, whatever. So I gave him a couple. He started throwing it, and lo and behold, that's what he caught more of those fish on. those first couple days at the tournament that he won, the only Elite Series he ever won. So I think it's cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that, maybe not now since you've done it for so long, I guess maybe you do, but do you ever find there's like a bait that, I guess kind of opposite of what you were telling him, do you still stumble upon baits that maybe you haven't tried, or maybe you tried it once and put it down, that become a producer for you?
Yeah, for sure. It just, like, I'm trying to think of one right now.
Like the Whopper Plopper for me. Like when everybody was talking about the Whopper Plopper, I'm like, dude, that thing's dumb as hell. I'm not going to fish it. And I held out for I don't know how long. And you probably could have got on the craze when, they were brand new fish.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen it. I was way late to the game, and that was kind of one for me that I just waited and waited. It was like, oh yeah.
I can't, I'm kind of with you on that, because a friend of mine made a handmade Whopper Plopper probably 5 years before the Whopper Plopper became on the market. And he said, dude, I'm telling you, you need to throw this thing and he said, you throw it and just reel it. And I said, really? Just reel it? He goes, yep, telling you, just throw it and reel it. And it did not dawn on me that it's like a buzz bait on steroids, but like, I was so mad at myself for just leaving that bait. I toted that bait around. I showed it all over the country. I toured it around, but I didn't throw it. I just showed it around, and I didn't. So it's just kind of funny, thinking back on the stuff, like the spy bait. I had spy baits before everybody else was throwing them. Didn't think anything of them. I thought they were kind of stupid looking. I didn't understand them. Now I understand what the blades were for and why they were there and that kind of stuff. So I definitely. So now anytime I see a lure, I try to really, really give it a chance and not just sweep it under the rug and say it's not going to be a big deal, because sometimes baits that I really, really think should be a big deal aren't. And then sometimes baits that I look at and I go, oh, whatever. Oh, here's a perfect one. Sakamata shads. I had a Japanese guy give me Sakamata shads 5 years ago, bro. 5 years ago. And I didn't know what to do with them. He gave me the jig head and everything. I didn't know what to do with it. I fished it and I'm like, dude, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I didn't know what it was.
Doesn't do anything
to do with it. He gave it to me 5 years ago, dude. 2020, he gave it to me. And I had no clue what it was, because those things came out in 2019 and they were doing good in Japan. He gave me a whole bag of them. And he said, here, you need to throw them. Didn't know what they were. Didn't really throw them. It's just like, oh my gosh, what could have been.
Trends, right? Yeah, and it's interesting to see how those trends kind of come and go. Like the swim bait. I know you're a swim bait guy now too. Getting into the collecting, I think, is just as much as fun as a lot of the lures and stuff it is as fishing them.
Yeah.
I did have one other question. Speaking of kayak fishing, Chris also texted me and asked me this. He said, "Has John ever kayak fished? What are your thoughts on kayak fishing? It seems to just be continuing to grow and grow the sport."
Yeah, man. I like kayak fishing. I've done it a couple times. I'd say less than half a dozen times, but I think it's cool. The coolest part here's the coolest for me. Is the coolest part I thought was if you catch a good one and you set the hook and he pulls the freaking boat, dude. That is the first time that happened. I'm like, no, I could get into this. This is cool. When you hook into a bass and it actually pulls the apparatus that you're sitting in, it pulls it around. That was I don't know. That was just the coolest part. I mean, you can get back into all these places that nobody else can fish, and it's very, you're very at one with the fishery and the fish. I think that's a cool part of it. But I just think that's the coolest part. Like, no matter how hard you set the hook, that some bitch is gonna pull you the other way.
Yeah, and that's like, I hate fishing sitting down in a boat. Like I despise it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But like in a kayak, I really thought it was going to be something I'd hate, but you're so low down in the water, you're kind of one with it. Like it's a really different, cool,
Yeah.
like feeling of
Exactly.
just being around nature. I don't know. Illuminathan had another good one here. Yeah, we didn't even touch on this, the Little John, and that also kind of ties in with. Was it Trevor? Yeah, Trevor. I've seen you ask this a couple times, and I'm sorry. But I think this is probably one we can touch on. So some of the lures that you reach for fall transitioning, kind of that's happening now, or into the fall. And I guess maybe you can kind of tie that into some of your flat sides for fall fishing, cooler water. I don't know, however you want to take that question.
Yeah, I mean, the Little John is just an amazing bait for fishing lakes and covering water especially on banks that don't have a lot of cover. That's just banks that don't look like anything. Nobody else is throwing or fishing them. If you have any kind of bait fish presence, Little John is just a great bait to catch fish and cover water at the same time. I love it in the fall, September, October, November, even into December. Really good for most places. That's just, Little John's just a staple for me.
What's your favorite color? I'll bring it up here. What's if for people that don't know the Little John, little flat side, it is a really
so
cool
in the fall, I would say that my number one color is going to be chrome olive. I really like that color. If you've got some stain in the water, I'll throw Cellmate probably second, and then chrome olive. That's probably my number one in the fall. It's
kind of like a chrome Tennessee shad almost.
It's something about that chrome. It's got the olive back. It's just such a good color.
What was the other one? I'm sorry, I was looking for that one. What
Cellmate.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Old Glory is
yes, Cellmate. Yes.
Cellmate, if the water's a little stained, Cellmate it kind of pops, and that one's been a really good one. I'll tell you one little cool story. This is probably, I don't know, 10 plus years ago. They were fishing an FLW tournament on Lake Norman, and Larry Nixon had a top 10. He finished like third or fourth. And I saw Larry the next week. I think we were fishing the same tournament the week after that or something. And I ran into Larry, and he's like, "Hey, John, can I get some more of those Little John crankbaits?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "I need some more of those nasty shad and some Cellmates." I was like, "Oh my God," like he really fished them. He knows the color names. And so I went into my box and I grabbed him, 2 or 3 of each. He's like, thanks. I'm probably going to throw them again this week. He said, "I caught every single fish that I weighed at Lake Norman last week on that bait." I'm like, dude, how cool is that? The freaking legend, Larry Nixon,
dude,
top 10s in an FLW, throwing nothing but the bait that you designed. Like that is just, I don't know. It's next level cool for me. I still think that's awesome. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, it's a very different, like I tinker with, painting baits, airbrushing baits and making my plastics. And it's a very different feeling when you catch something on something you created. That's very validating, right? Like, dude, I just had this silly idea in my head and I made it and it worked and it caught a fish. Yeah. Especially when you've got, somebody like that, a legend throwing it. It's like, damn,
a legend. Yeah.
Did something right.
Yeah. Legend, Larry freaking Nixon throwing a bait that you designed, and there it is. He did it. I don't know. I think it's crazy.
Ralph, also a good friend. You've probably had dinner with Ralph before. Ralph, I think, knows every single YouTube personality and tournament fishing person ever. That was a joke. Ralph came through. He's moving out to the Pentagon. Actually works out at the Pentagon now. So Ralph, congrats on the move. I see you're out there and appreciate him. Always hats off and tips to our
Go Creek over there.
Yeah. All of our guys and gals in the service, always appreciate the hell out of y'all. You have my full support. And just like Ralph, so yeah, Tidal fisheries, Potomac River, question marks, I guess. How do you fish them? I don't know. Tidal fisheries in Iowa are pretty slow fishing. So
yeah, well, yeah, the tide's pretty slow there. But the, tidal fisheries, You gotta remember a handful of things before you even think about fishing tidal fisheries. Number one is that you're going to have 4 tides a day. So you're going to have 2 high tides and 2 low tides, which means the water's always moving. The water's always moving. So
weird as heck.
So are the fish. The fish are always moving. Just because it's a badass looking stump, the fish don't live on there all day. They don't. They might be there for 20 minutes. They might be there for an hour. Then they're moving. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to a different. Then, so if you have higher tides, sometimes the fish will go to certain type of things. If you have extra low tides, they'll go to certain things. So you just have to remember that the fish are always moving on tidal fisheries, period. Being that they are always moving, they will also move in groups. Oddly, they move in big groups. So they do this on like the Mississippi as well. Like I'm not talking about, lower Mississippi, upper Mississippi. They kind of do the same thing. They'll move in like big groups. And it's not like they're in schools, but I really, really think it has to do with they're all seeking similar types of conditions. They're seeking out clearer water that's got the bait, that's got the bluegill potentially in a lot of places. You find the bluegill, you find the clear water, you'll find the bass. Tidal fisheries kind of the same way. You pull up to, like on the Potomac, you pull up to one of those grass mats. If you don't hear any bluegill going, you're probably not going to catch anything. And you pull up to one of those grass mats and you hear, the bass are going to be around there somewhere. They may not be in the mat. They may be around the mat. They may be on the inside of the mat. They'll be around. They're going to be within a casting distance of wherever those bluegills are going. Slurp, slurp, slurp.
Yeah, and I don't even know how to tackle that, because that can be the most frustrating thing when you're like, there's got to be fish here, and there's just I don't even know how to. Well, I want to be mindful of your time. We're at a little over an hour here, so I'm going to say rapid fire, fishing friends. What are we going to end out the night with here for John? Give us your rapid fire questions, this or that.
Bang, bang.
We like the this or that questions. I know. How about somebody had asked it earlier, and I know you're very much into lifting, working out. Do you have what's your biggest? And maybe it is lifting. What's your biggest hobby like outside of fishing? Like if you're just going to go do something for fun.
Outside of fishing, it's definitely working out. I like working out. I'm big into business. I like reading books. I read business books. I read the Bible on in waves. Like I'll go in waves and read it. Then I'll get out of it, and then I'll get back into it. So I go in different portions there. I do more reading than maybe most fishermen. Some fishermen do.
That's awesome. Yeah, then, I do the same.
Yeah, the workout for sure.
Okay. How about favorite sport? What's your favorite sport? Like if you were going to sit down and watch
football.
Football. Okay.
Football, but I'll watch basketball, and I'll watch baseball sometimes too. I played baseball. That's more of the sport that I particularly played. But my stepson played football, and I didn't know anything about. I mean, I knew football, like from a fan's perspective. And then once he started playing when he was a little kid, I started helping him coach when he was in Sandlot. And I started to actually learn the game. And then as he got better, I had to understand the game so I could help him. And so I've gotten to where I'm not calling myself a coach, but I understand it way more than like the common fan, to where I understand what the difference of cover 1, cover 0, and cover 2, and cover 3, and cover 4 is on defenses. I can tell you where the 2 hole is and the 3 hole and things like that. But I'm no coach, but like being able to understand the game and then watch the game of football is so much more fun, because the coaching aspect is very interesting to me, because you've got 11 dudes on each side of the ball that you've got to have in perfect symphony in order to be successful. And that takes managerial skills. It's coaching, but it's also managerial skills, which is like what comes in from the business side as well. So for me, I think football is just very interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's the same way for MMA because like a lot of the shows and stuff, that I would be at, you'd have the people, yelling the stupid stuff, and it's like people don't understand, oh, they're just wrestling and hugging, and they'll start
Yeah,
shouting out stuff. But you don't understand of like dude puts his hand, his arm one wrong way, that's a submission
it's
coming.
gone. It's
Yeah, when
gone.
you
It's
know
done.
the
Yeah.
intricacies of it, it's a whole different game, to watch. But
Yeah,
um a-
I did some jiu-jitsu for about 6 months,
oh, awesome.
enough to realize like that is like I had a lot of respect for it after I did it. And
Yeah.
yeah, being a smaller dude, it was like I would always frustrate the big dudes because didn't they couldn't get me to do stuff
Yeah. Yep.
because I was little and I was shifty and
Scrappy.
yeah,
Scrappy.
Exactly.
Illuminathan. I don't know what the warlock is. Wants to know if John
Yeah,
designed the
yeah,
warlock.
I did design the warlock. I sure did, man. I was looking for a shaky head that you could get through a brush pile, and the standard ball head was not the one. So I started playing around with a couple different designs, and we came up with that warlock. You ended up using a hook that Gamakatsu had, but they didn't really do anything with, and so we used it with the warlock, and that thing is it's the most snag resistant shaky head that's ever been invented, I think.
I do know that one now that we're talking about
Gold
that.
or silver? Ooh, that's a tough one. I bet combination. I'll do combination. I'd rather have a combination gold and silver. I don't care if which on front or back. I think a combination is the way to go.
About for a chatterbait.
I'd say silver, probably if I had to go with one. All green pumpkin is if I had only really had one. All green pumpkin.
Mimic bluegill.
Yep.
How about favorite breakfast? We got I'm a huge biscuits and gravy guy. Biscuits and gravy goes down as the king of breakfast foods. How about you?
So on a daily basis, I eat oatmeal with some kind of fruit in it, mostly blueberries, sometimes banana and banana. Sometimes like this morning it was strawberry and banana in the oatmeal. That's more of a daily, but if I had like any
Like
kind
splurge. Yeah, like
breakfast is my favorite meals of the day. I would say any kind of pancake waffle situation would do it for me. I love that.
I like it. I'm just going through here. Yeah, I think we covered that. Maybe not.
Favorite
Crankbait or
eating fish,
chatterbait, this or that.
I ate shrimp for dinner.
Oh
Shrimp,
yeah. Whoops, I skipped that one. Sorry. Yeah, what's your favorite eating fish?
as far as I'd probably say Chilean sea bass for actual fish, but
Fancy.
walleye is probably my favorite freshwater fish.
Crankbait or chatterbait? You got to choose one. Other one's got to go.
I can do more with the chatterbait, maybe. I've caught more fish. I don't know. That's tough. Chatterbait. I'll go chatterbait. It's tough though.
You heard it here, folks. Throw out your crankbaits. John's going with the chatter.
It's tough. That's tough though.
We like those. Well, listen, I want to be mindful of your time. Where can everybody find you? Where follow on the socials? Where are you at these days?
Yeah, man, I do the big four is what I tell people, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Those are the big four. I'm dabbling with the Snapchat thing. I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't know what that's all about. I don't do the TikTok. Missile Baits does the TikTok, but we are all on that kind of stuff. That's what follow Missile Baits and John Cruz, and I appreciate everybody out there. And I'm a bass head and a bourbon guy, like a lot of you guys probably are, and just love catching fish, and just super stoked that I'm going to be actually fishing in the Classic again and try to represent and have a good time and entertain everybody, and hope everybody can make it to Knoxville in March. If you've never been, I'll just tell everybody, if you've never been to the Classic, you have got to go to the Classic. It is a good time. And we mentioned it earlier, talking about all like everybody that's there loves bass fishing just like you do. And it's a cool, fun time period.
all the vendors there are there. You've got the pros that you can, possibly run into and talk to, if they're not busy. Yeah, it's a really cool atmosphere. I haven't been for it was 2015 or 16 was last time I was there. So yeah, I'm going. Maybe we'll have a meetup. Hopefully we can have a meetup, a Fish and Friend meetup, all you guys. Hopefully I run into you there, John. But listen, I appreciate the heck out of you willing to hop on tonight and talk with us. Great knowledge. So that's it from us.
Yes,
Love y'all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next live.